Hello, my name is Jan Meyer, and I'm an intrahepatic cholangiocarcinoma warrior, and I'm a retired RN. I began my career in Canada on a surgical unit, and then moved to Bermuda, where I continued my career on a surgical unit, and then transitioned to radiology. I mention this only because in 23 years of nursing, I never once saw a cholangiocarcinoma patient, not once. In 2017, out of the blue, I decided it was time to get my weight under control. And after a lot of research, I decided to have a gastric sleeve. I found an incredible surgeon, Dr. Peters, here in Wilmington, and I trusted him. I underwent extensive medical testing from September 2017 till January 2018. Including a plain CAT scan of my abdomen. It showed nothing. I remember getting all the reports back thinking, wow, I'm in my 50s and nothing. Thinking, this is incredible. And looking to my husband and saying, there's a saying, when you go fishing, you might catch a fish. But we were lucky, or so we thought. In January 2018, I was lying on the operating room table for my first major surgery ever since having a tonsillectomy as a child. No nerves. I felt really prepared, and I felt I was doing the right thing. I woke up from surgery and asked the male nurse, so how did it go? And he said, well, they couldn't do your surgery. I said, oh, that can't be good. I turned to my left to see my husband and Dr. Peters, and they both said, they couldn't do your surgery. We saw something suspicious. They biopsied it, sent it down to the lab, kept me under anesthetic, and sent the frozen section to the lab, hoping in all hopes it would be benign and we could commence with the surgery. However, they had to abort the surgery as Wilmington was not able to decide pathology. After a week, they sent my pathology to Mayo Clinic, where Mayo Clinic decided the pathology. Thank you, Mayo. In over a week, I got that call, the dreaded call. Just after lunch, in the middle of the day, all alone by myself, you have cholangiocarcinoma. And in that moment, our life, my life, changed as we knew it. I started to think about our plans of retiring somewhere warm. Was I going to die? Did I have any treatment options? I had to have made a mistake, right? A quick call to Dean and he was home in no time. But what I haven't mentioned yet is this was not our first exposure to cholangiocarcinoma. My mom, Mark Brown, passed away in 2011 from cholangiocarcinoma. She was stolen from us way too soon. At the time, I asked them, is this genetic? No. Is there any chance I should be concerned? No. I repeatedly asked and was told no. But here we are. I'd always said my mom, she fought her cancer with such dignity and class, and she was an incredible warrior. And I'd always hoped, had I have to go through something like that, I could do the same. Little did I know I'd be following right after her on the same path. We thankfully opted to get a second opinion, and our incredible family doctor, Dr. David Millay, had all hands on deck. He lined up several appointments at the leading physicians for cholangiocarcinoma. The next week, I was at my first appointment at Memorial Sloan Kettering in New York City with Dr. Jarnigan. After moving to Delaware, going up to New York City was usually a lot of fun, and we really enjoyed going up there. But this certainly was different. Sitting quietly in his office, my palms sweaty, holding back the tears, we talked matter-of-factly about my history, my mom's history, what I wanted to do, what he felt I should do. And then I eventually broke down. I will never forget the kindness and compassion showed by Dr. Jarnigan at that moment. He scooted his stool over, gently smiling, and put his hand on my knee, looking me squarely in the face and said, I will take good care of you. And in that moment, I had hope. We had hope. We left with a list of appointments and a surgical date of March 5th. We left there with a sense of peace. We left there knowing we were in great hands. The time between this appointment and my actual surgical date are a bit of a blur. An MRI locally here in Wilmington confirmed I had one lone isolated tumor, measuring 3.1 centimeters at its widest point. Calling friends and letting them know surgery was a go. Making plans for New York City, it was all a whirlwind. We hadn't lived in Delaware that long, and our friends and family in Ohio, Bermuda, and Canada were so frustrated they couldn't be here to help us. On March 5th, 2018, I underwent a hepatotectomy, resection, partial liver lobectomy, and cholecystectomy. I received incredible care at Memorial Sloan Kettering during my stay there, and I am so thankful to everyone there. I then went on to meet my incredible oncologist, Dr. Marina Sherba, at Memorial Sloan Kettering in Monmouth. When I met her admin, Jonathan, and her incredible nurse, Claire, I felt immediately at ease. My follow-up chemotherapy was based on the BILCAT study and was 6 months of Xeloda. I had hand-foot syndrome from day 4 of the first cycle, and what I call epic vomit sessions that lasted 3 hours at a time. As time went on, the side effects worsened, but I was determined I was not going to lower my dose. It was only 6 months. I could do it. Mini pep talks regularly sure helped me get through it. Having seen somebody go through cholangiocarcinoma, I knew I had to fight and give it everything I could. I am currently NED, no evidence of disease. I do regular screening to hopefully catch this beast when and if it decides to rear its ugly head again. COVID, however, has added a whole other level of stress for myself and many other cancer patients. My husband had been to every lab appointment, every scan appointment, and every doctor appointment, and now he couldn't because of COVID restrictions. This has been discussed quite often within our cholangiocarcinoma community, and I would say the majority of the patients feel that even though it is necessary, it has added a lot of stress that we just don't need. Cholangiocarcinoma is stressful enough. I will always continue to do my care at Memorial Sloan Kettering. For us, the 2-hour drive is worth it, and certainly many warriors travel a lot longer distances than 2 hours. Sure, I had hand-foot syndrome, my hair thinned, and I had aches and pains I never knew before. I kind of expected that, but what I wasn't prepared for was the mental toll. Being told you have a rare, deadly, aggressive cancer. I tried to hide it. Most days were good, but I remember the bad days. In the shower, the water streaming down my face, mixing with the tears. The time I just couldn't get out of bed for days. And then one day realizing I needed to get my mental health in check and making a call to my GP and helping me deal with that. When I talk to fellow cholangiocarcinoma patients, they often say the same thing, that the mental toll, even if they're NED, no evidence of disease, can be overwhelming and crippling. It's something so many of us have struggled with at some point during our cholangiocarcinoma journey. I recently shared my trip up to MSK with Dean to have my scans. Going in alone after all week, the week before, trying to get out of those scans. I had an ache, I had a pain, I just couldn't go. We needed to cancel them, but going and getting there and seeing Anthony and the weekend crew and knowing they're going to take good care of me. Being claustrophobic, terrified of your results, and COVID are not a good combination, even with sedation. But I got them done, and we're on to 4 months. Deciding to share my story and go public and to raise awareness was a difficult one. Both Dean and I are both quite private, but we realized fairly early on that to raise awareness, we would have to. We strongly believe that awareness equals donations, and donations equals increased and improved funding for research, and increased research equals hope, and we all need hope. Strangely enough, spending time raising awareness helped me deal with my cholangiocarcinoma If I can make a difference in one warrior coming behind me, that means the world to us. Every warrior finds something that helps keep them going, gets them through those tough days, whether it's helping patients by mentoring, being an advocate, raising awareness, picking up an old hobby that you've abandoned. We've had some good success here in Delaware. It's only fitting that Delaware, being the first state, was the first state to declare February 12th as World Cholangiocarcinoma Day in February 2019, and have done so every year since, this year marking the third year they've done it. We funded a research fellowship grant in my mom's name, the Margaret M. Brown Research Fellowship Grant, funding a young scientist in Scotland. That was very fitting, given that she was originally from Scotland. We also knew we wanted to do something to raise research money for the Cholangiocarcinoma Foundation and decided on a 5K. Even after having to pivot and go virtual, the Quack Out Cholangio 5K Run Walk to Crush Bile Duct Cancer had an incredible 299 participants in 24 states, 3 provinces in Canada, and 1 in Sweden. And we raised just under $25,000 for research. We had an incredible community and business support via sponsorship and donation from Insight, Ernst & Young, KPMG, Her, Wegmans, and more. Many local businesses shared my excitement and were unaware of the fact that Insight, whose American headquarters are right here in Wilmington, Delaware, had developed the first FDA-approved targeted drug for cholangiocarcinoma in 2020. Our race sign-up is open and we already have over 100 participants. It's very exciting. Jim Donovan from Philly CBS 3 wore a green tie for the 2nd year in a row. Sure, it probably doesn't seem like much to him, but to us, the warriors, his picture and his kind message meant the world. In 2020, my story was highlighted by Nord. In 2019, and again this year, I was interviewed by Rick Jensen on WDEL, the local talk radio about cholangio. And I was also given the opportunity to share my story with a local magazine, Inside Greenville, many times. Well, I also made some mini movies about cholangiocarcinoma, the most notably being I Am the Face of Cholangiocarcinoma, where I recruited videos from warriors all over the world, thinking that we need to put a face to this cancer. I'm always thinking of new projects. Funnily enough, I posted I posted that I needed some help for my most recent awareness project. And Mary, another warrior on Facebook, wrote, "What are you up to now?" And my response was, "Awareness Project 4792. Haha, don't tell Dean." I have learned that each cholangiocarcinoma patient's journey is different, with their own twists and turns, highs and lows, ups and downs. But having the right medical team, a great personal support team, my amazing cholangiocarcinoma warrior family, and the Cholangiocarcinoma Foundation make all the difference. Thank you to my amazing team, Dr. David Mullane, Dr. William Jarnigan, and Dr. Marina Sherba, and thank you, Dean. In closing, I'd like to say cheers to Stacy and the incredible Cholangiocarcinoma Foundation. Here's to your 15th anniversary, and thank you. Be well.